Freedom and Prosperity Radio is brought to you by Tertium Quids, neither Democrat nor Republican, but simply getting back to the founding principles that made us free and prosperous to begin with.
Live from Liberty Fest. Liberty Fest. You're missing out. If you missed this, then the good news is you're listening to this program, because we're going to do our best to cover it for you. Hi, Scott Lee with Freedom and Prosperity Radio. Hey, I want to direct you to our website, freedomandprosperityradio.com, where you'll find a link to me. We have a comment line where you can comment. Yep, that's it. Comment on a comment line. Sitting with me right now is Tom DeWeese, founder of the American Policy Center. Hey, Tom.
Hey,
thanks
good to be with you.
Thanks for joining me here. You know, one thing I like about your group is you guys really focus on property rights and individual liberty. Is there anything more foundational than property rights when it comes to freedom in a country?
John Adams and George Washington both said that you cannot have freedom without property rights. And, you know, we talk about the principles of freedom, and we hear about that a lot. But, you know, you ask yourself the question, what are the principles of freedom? There's three of them. Principles of freedom are free enterprise, individuality, and private property rights. You have all those in place, you have freedom. You take any one of them away, you diminish freedom and lead towards tyranny.
Okay, there's someone in their car right now who's listening to this program thinking, well, my property's under assault. What are they talking about? I mean, what you and I both know, but let's tell the lady or the gentleman in this car listening going, hey, my house isn't under a threat. It kind of is, isn't it?
Oh, it is. You know, just ask yourself, can you build something on your house without getting a permit? Can you do anything with your property without somebody saying, oh, that's okay, or no, you can't? We literally, after the Kelo decision in 2005, we do not have property rights in the United States of America. That decision said that any time the city council or county commissioners decided that your property would be more valuable as something else to the community, more taxes or more benefit, then they had the right to use eminent domain and knock it down.
I don't think people understand the fear of that. I mean, they don't understand. And I mean, you and I are sitting there going, holy cow, that's insane. The Kelo thing was one of the biggest assaults on freedom this country's ever seen, and it got a blimp. I mean, there's some people who don't know what it is today. And so someone like your organization who's pushing for these property rights and saying, hey, look, this is foundational. We need to be careful. I know Tertium Quids, who's the premier advocate for free markets and free people, support our program here at Freedom and Prosperity Radio. Do more than support it. They're the sponsor of it. Is going to be pushing an agenda through the General Assembly for a property rights amendment. Would you guys support that?
Well, I have to see what it says, but
right.
Certainly this is what we need to do. We need to protect private property rights. We need to go back to, you know, the rule of law on our property. Our property is ours.
But you believe in taking action at state level. Something needs to be done.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that at the state level, this is where we can take action to literally neuter the federal intrusion.
Especially when it comes to federal.
Yeah, if we do it on the state level, there's not a whole lot they can do about it.
Now, how does environmental issues affect our property rights? Because this is where I think of the kangaroo rat, you know, on my property, or the wetlands in my backyard. I mean, these guys can swoop in, but it's bigger than that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's much bigger. It is everything on your property and your property rights. The environmental movement, literally, leaders of the environmental movement have said they do not support property rights. The property rights are an endangerment to the environment. They literally say that. You know, the fact is that we have proven time and time again that private stewardship of land is much more effective in protecting endangered species, much more effective in protecting the environment, and than the government can do.
Yeah, right.
But yet that's the direction they go in, and this is our position. We do not believe that the environmental movement is about protecting the environment. We believe that the environmental movement is about putting an agenda, a social agenda together.
I was going to say the exact same thing. It's not. It has nothing to do with my little plant or planting trees. It's bigger than that.
Well, if you look at their policies, you'll find, in 9 times out of 10, you'll find that either the policy has absolutely nothing to do with protecting the environment, or actually maybe damages it. I'll give you an example. The Endangered Species Act. It is so punitive that if you have an endangered species on your property, you're probably doing something right. You should be honored that you have an endangered species. But instead, as soon as it's discovered that it's there, the government swoops in and takes away your ability to control that part of the land, maybe the whole thing. And so what they do, people who have endangered species on their land, take a policy called shoot, shovel, and shut up. Get the endangered species out. How does that protect an endangered species?
Oh, that is so true.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's just how long have you hated animals? I mean, that's what we label you as some kind of
right after I started beating my wife.
Exactly. All right, I got 2 words for you here, and I want you to comment on it. Agenda 21.
Agenda 21 is what's called a soft law policy that was created in 1992 at the Earth Summit, the United Nations Earth Summit. It was one of 2 major policies that came out of there. We call it a soft law policy because it's not a treaty,
right? But
it is it's a suggestion. And as soon as that policy was presented at the conference, then Bill Clinton, who was president,
right,
put together the President's Council on Sustainable Development. Sustainable development is the policy that comes out of Agenda 21. And let me say this about this. A lot of people think Agenda 21 is about protecting the environment. If you look at the logo of Agenda 21, you will see 3 connecting circles. They are marked social equity, economic prosperity, and ecological integrity, the 3 E's, as we call it. People look at the environmental part of it. That's the excuse. The real crux of the matter is a social equity, social justice. This is a term you're hearing all the time today.
Yep.
Well, let me give you an example of what social justice is. According to Sustainable Development Materials, social justice, it's a social injustice to have borders on your country because that stops the natural migration of people. It is a social injustice to have private property because private property it leads to creation of wealth, and that's not fair if some people can't do it. Sustainable development, Agenda 21, is about one thing: redistribution of wealth. Our wealth down a green rat hole.
Does that scare you yet, folks? I'm sitting here with my mouth open. Agenda 21, when you hear that term, run for it. But the other term that always sneaks in on people is this term, sustainable development. It sounds so good. In fact, it was in one of Bob McDonald's proposals, the term sustainable development.
Yeah, we are very unhappy to hear that the McDonald administration is a sustainable administration, and that means literally government control.
Yep, exactly. Your comments quickly on T. Boone Pickens showing up at the Governor's Energy Commission. Any comments on that?
I think that shows you the caliber about this commission. This commission is not about free enterprise or limited government. This is about big government boys coming in and finding how they can get their hands on more money and more control.
That's T. Boone Pickens.
Absolutely.
In a nutshell, that's exactly who is a keynote speaker, not just a speaker.
Should tell you everything you need to know.
Exactly. I agree. Tom, how can people find out more about your organization and what you're doing?
We're in Warrenton, Virginia, and our website is AmericanPolicy.org. Okay. So give us a shout there, or our office.
You are definitely doing the Lord's work. Thank you for your efforts, and keep it up.
Thanks for the opportunity.
You bet. That's Tom DeWeese, founder of the American Policy Center. And I know for a fact you want to hear this interview again. You'll find it at freedomandprosperityradio.com.
Stay tuned to Freedom and Prosperity Radio. We'll be right back after a brief message from our sponsors.